UCM Lightship Sprue. Alright, for the UCM small ships, the Lysander lighters and the Santiago corvettes are simple enough. They are single piece, and it's cool that you get 2 of each. I think that's good value for this. When it comes to the monitor, you can either build an Istanbul, which is simply putting that there, and that's a decent fit. Or you can do a Vienna, and that just sits there. So I'm going to just paint both options, and whenever I want to change the weapon loadout, that's simple enough. So no need for any magnets, which is always nice. When it comes to the cutters, you can build the Reykjavik, the Nuke, or the Oslo, and honestly, they fit fairly well. You could theoretically just blue tack them in, and they could stay. You could magnetize. There's not a whole lot of space available, though. So I think instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pin it. I'm just going to drill a tiny hole on one side and drill a tiny hole in here and put a piece of wire, probably either a safety pin, piece of metal, or a paper clip, and just a tiny little hole, because the amount of effort to pull them off shouldn't be that much. I mean, I could even pin them upwards so that they push down. That might be a better way, because then, I don't know. But I think I'm just going to pin them instead of magnetize them. It's one less step that I have to deal with, and I like the Nuke look. I like that double on that side, but having the options to switch them out without much, if any, issue, like just having that there, or it just needs enough. Like, that's a little bit light. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I just think that that's too small for a real good magnet attachment, but it technically holds itself if you push it in, and pinning seems like the right thing. So those are the cutters. Again, I'm pretty happy with all of these so far. But then you come to the destroyers and the escort carriers, and this is where it gets a little sad, because I understand that sprues have limited space, and they don't want you to build every option out of one kit. They all take different core shapes, and they take these wings, and you get 4 of these, which is fine if you're building the Havana or the Vancouver, because they each take 2. But if you want to build a Kiev or a Caracas, they take 3. And you get enough different cores that if you had 14 wings, not 4, 14, you could build every one of these, minus a tiny little piece on the bottom. So I really wish that they might have gone to 5 of these, because Building a Kiev with 3 would have been really fun, but giving up a second ship in the single sprue is a little bit rough, and it feels a little bad when you have to give up another whole ship to do a 3-pronged look. And I understand if they put 6 of them in here, you would have been able to build 3 of the 2 wing options. So I can understand going to 5 and only allowing 2 ships to be built. But it does feel a little sad that I can't build a Kiev because I need to build either 2 Havanas or 2 Vancouvers. I would have loved to have that option. And it's the only problem I've had with this sprue. Like, everything else is nice and simple. I don't even need to magnetize these. I can, but I don't have to. But only having 4 when you have enough options to build 14. Just a tiny little bit of sadness there. But let me go build the Havanas and pin these up, and I'll be back with you. When it comes to the UCM small ships, it was simple enough to build the Santiagos and the Lysanders, being that they're single piece models. The Istanbul and Vienna are easy enough because either option just clips in. I magnetized the cutters because I would love to run them as nukes, but having the other 2 options is probably a good idea for overall gameplay. I mean, it's simple enough to take one off and put a different weapon on, so also I've heard that running a whole bunch of nukes in a game is a little bit extreme. So, for balance sake and everything, having options is good. And I'm still a little saddened by the fact that the kit only comes with 4 wing segments when you get all of the options to build different destroyers and carriers and everything. And I would have loved to have built a Kiev, but it requires 3 of a 4 in a kit, and I would much rather have 2 Havanas than having 1 Kiev in a first kit. Will I choose to build a Kiev if I get another small ships? I don't know. I might just build 2 Vancouvers instead. Again, having to choose between 1 or 2 ships, it's really hard when starting out a collection. And, the number of Santiagos and Lysanders that you can actually run in a game, I don't know. There's a certain level where do I actually get to a point where I build any of the triple wing options? Like, I'm not even talking about the Caracas, and it's still another option, but like, to buy extra kits just for extra wing segments, it's a little bit rough. Overall, I'm like, this is nice and simple. These just come singles. I wish they could have fit 1 more wing so you could do 1 Kiev and 1 Havana or something like that. Subscribe if you haven't so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.